Welcome back to Nigeflixes. The movie begins with a man running frantically, his life clearly in danger. Despite his desperate attempts to evade his pursuers, he is ultimately shot. Aisha, who is Tiwa Savage, remarks that we shouldn't pity him, as he is the thief who killed her brother. She feels that even this form of jungle justice isn't sufficient. This tragedy is why she left the city. 10 years later, we find Aisha in Los Angeles, USA, now a successful fashion designer. During a fashion show for her new clothing line, she receives a call from her cousin back home, informing her that her cousin's brother has been killed, which likely reminds her of her own brother's murder. Determined to be there for her cousin, she decides to return to her native town. As she travels home, Aisha notices significant changes in her neighborhood, East Side. The cab driver warns her about the area's transformation into a hub for bad boys and advises her to be cautious. Arriving at her house, memories of past events flood back, making her feel nauseous. These include her younger years with her brother Mehdi and their grandmother. She recalls a day when she dressed up to entertain her grandma, only for her to suddenly die, an event that has contributed to Aisha's anxiety. In the present, Aisha wakes up from a nightmare about her brother's death. The following morning, while smoking, her cousin Stephanie arrives. Overjoyed at their reunion, they catch up, with Stephanie remarking on how different the room looks compared to when their grandmother was alive. Stephanie convinces Aisha to go out and enjoy themselves, despite Aisha's initial reluctance. As they ride in a keke, a local motorized tricycle, Aisha clings on nervously, feeling out of place. They pass through streets where bad boys harass them, making Aisha uncomfortable. Stephanie reassures her that the town has changed and there's no need to worry. They visit Stephanie's folks, who greet Aisha warmly. Stephanie then takes her to Mama Egypt's restaurant, where Aisha enjoys the local food, reminiscing about the taste of home. At the restaurant, Aisha spots someone familiar, Kay. He approaches, recognizing Aisha. They exchange pleasantries and catch up on old times. Kay invites Aisha to an event, but she declines, saying she needs to help Stephanie unpack. Stephanie, however, insists Aisha go with Kay, making a joke about not letting another woman take her place. Despite initial reluctance, Aisha agrees to go with Kay. As they ride around town, they reminisce about their childhood. Kay recalls how he used to help Aisha when her brother Mehdi would leave her behind. They stop for coconut juice, and Aisha remembers a time when she dreamt of going overseas, and Kay expressed his love for her. He had given her a pair of earrings, promising to buy nicer ones when he became rich. They share a tender moment, but it's interrupted when Kay brings Aisha home. Kay confronts a suspicious man on the roadside, displaying his gun to scare him off. This aggressive behavior shocks Aisha, revealing that Kay is not the same person she once knew. Back at home, Aisha tells Kay that her brother never wanted her to associate with him. They argue, and Kay leaves, but not before telling Aisha that this is the reality of their town, and not everyone can escape it like she did. Aisha, unable to sleep, takes pills for her anxiety. Meanwhile, Kay, unhappy with recent events, instructs one of his boys to deliver a package, hinting at his involvement in gang activities. The next day, Aisha and Stephanie take a stroll by the riverside. Stephanie thanks Aisha for coming back to support her during this difficult time. Aisha asks Stephanie how she's coping. Stephanie admits she's had good and bad days, and things have been so tough she's taken up smoking, surprising Aisha. Stephanie reveals she often wakes up missing her brother intensely. Aisha consoles her, saying that the pain of losing someone never fully goes away, but just sleeps, sometimes waking up. Aisha apologizes for not coming sooner, as she's been trying to forget many things about their home. Stephanie understands and then curiously asks about Aisha's outing with Kay. Aisha explains that Stephanie had insisted she go, but it wasn't enjoyable, and there's nothing between her and Kay. Stephanie jokes about having imagined Aisha and Kay getting married and having several kids, making them laugh. Meanwhile, the guy Kay chased off his territory plots to take over the city from Kay, revealing that he was on a survey mission the other night. He tells his gang that he won't tolerate disrespect and criticizes the current city leadership. Aisha, reflecting on her belief that she needed to leave the city to chase her dreams, considers starting her fashion business there. She goes to the market to buy fabrics, where a seller recognizes her and reminisces about Aisha and her brother Mide, causing mayhem in the market. The mention of Mide freezes Aisha, who then leaves the market disturbed by the memories. That night, Aisha's taxi is stopped by the police. The driver struggles to find his license, and when he does, the police intentionally drop it and claim it's expired. Despite the driver's protests, the police escalate the situation. Aisha, terrified, is asked to get out of the car. The police officer hints at wanting a bribe, and when Aisha offers money, he mocks her, demanding more. As he starts harassing her, Kay's gang arrives, scaring the police away and rescuing Aisha. Kay is furious and confronts the police, reminding them he pays them to operate freely and they should not harass his people, especially Aisha. In a flashback, we see Kay and Mide as young friends. Mide disapproves of Aisha's relationship with Kay, concerned about Kay's involvement in illegal activities. He advises Aisha to perfect her fashion skills despite their broken sewing machine. Kay promises to help her, and Mide reassures her with their grandmother's words of faith. Later, Aisha visits Mide's grave, laying down flowers. She finds their old family album, and memories of her late loved ones bring her to tears. In a tender moment, their grandmother had once used the metaphor of gari, a type of grain, and water to explain life's hardships and joys, teaching Aisha a valuable lesson about resilience and love. Meanwhile, a boy delivers a package from Kay to Aisha. It contains earrings and a letter from Kay, admitting she was right about him and expressing his desire to show her something important. This rekindles Aisha's affection, and she gets dressed to meet Kay. Another flashback shows young Aisha, Kay, and Mide together. Mide warns Aisha to be careful with Kay. That night, Mide confronts Kay about his relationship with Aisha. Kay defends their relationship, but Mide insists he won't let Aisha be with someone involved in crime. Their argument escalates into a fight, and in a tragic turn, Kay accidentally shoots and kills Mide. Back in the present, Aisha meets Kay, who takes her to a party hosted for her. Despite the festive atmosphere, Aisha remains anxious. Kay reassures her, trying to make things right. Asks Kay if he's willing to leave his lifestyle for her, and he promises to try. Kay takes Aisha outside, asking about her life in America. Aisha, still anxious, opens up about the pressure she felt and how much she missed her brother. Kay shares his own pain of losing Mide, assuring her that moving on is essential and Mide would be proud of her. Aisha, tearful, misses Mide deeply. Aisha and Kay share a tender moment and kiss. They spend the night together, their connection rekindled. Afterward, Kay rides his bike and leaves. Later, while riding, he stops to read a message. Then Kay gets shot. The guy killed him for disrespecting him earlier, and he says disrespect will not be tolerated. We then see the message on his phone. It was actually from Aisha saying, "I had a wonderful night." Aisha hears about Kay's death, shocked but resolute. This time, she decides not to run away, but to stay and face her emotions, embracing the lessons of resilience and love taught by her grandmother. Thus, Water and Gary ends with Aisha choosing to stay, ready to soften life's hardships with the metaphorical water of love and resilience. Don't forget to subscribe to Nigeflix and turn on notifications so that you don't miss any of our videos.